Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're cracking open the ultimate user manual for your mind. We are diving deep into the absolutely fascinating neuroscience of peak performance, drawing straight from the brilliant insights of Dr. Adadia to help you unlock your limitless potential. If you've ever stopped and wondered why your brain acts the way it does, or how you can actually take the wheel and control it, well, get ready. So, let's kick things off with a question we can almost all relate to. Why does checking your phone first thing in the morning ruin your entire day? I mean, we've all been there, right? The alarm goes off, we squint with one eye open, and instantly reach for that glowing screen. But biologically speaking, this modern habit violently jolts our delicate brain chemistry right out of its natural waking state. You're essentially short-circuiting the exact way your mind was beautifully designed to power up. Okay, let's dive into this. Our brains basically operate on 4 primary wave frequencies. Right at the top, you've got delta, which is our deep sleep state. Down at the bottom is beta, our fast, alert, problem-solving state. But right in between those is where the real magic happens. Theta, our creative, visionary state, and alpha, our calm, relaxed state. When you wake up and immediately check an email or just chug caffeine, you're slamming your brain from delta straight into beta. You completely bypass the middle. Dr. Adathia notes that this phase between theta and alpha is an incredibly powerful window. It's absolutely crucial that we protect it to set our cognitive rhythm for the entire rest of the day. So here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, hacking your first hour. Second, frontal cortex versus limbic system. Third, daily brain fitness techniques. Fourth, the biology of our differences. And finally, unlocking your limitless potential. All right, section 1, hacking your first hour. You know, the ultimate biological hack is actually waking up about 45 to 90 minutes before the sun even comes up. At that time, your brain's chemical reactions, things like endorphin production, they're at their absolute peak. And your very first move should be getting 5 minutes of direct sunlight, just to set your circadian rhythm. So, how should you spend that precious first hour? Dr. Adadia recommends what he calls the mover's ritual, and you dedicate just 5 minutes per step. We've got meditation to go deeper, oxygenation through breathwork, visualization, exercise, reading something affirmative, and scribing to write out what just isn't serving you anymore. I really want to emphasize step 3 here, visualization. Neuroscience shows that visualizing your day physically primes your neural circuits. I mean, studies on piano players have actually shown that mental rehearsal yields the exact same brain changes and finger strength gains as physical practice. No way, right? Just from thinking about it. Moving on to section 2, frontal cortex versus the limbic system. As your morning shifts into the high demands of the midday workday, it's basically an internal biological boxing match that dictates literally all of our actions, our reactions, and our daily decisions. In one corner of our internal ring, we have the frontal cortex. Think of this as our logical command center, or the CEO. It handles our conscious choices and our emotional control. In the opposing corner, we've got the limbic system, the primitive threat scanner. This part of the brain is entirely focused on fear, self-doubt, and past memories. And here's the wild reality. For most people, that threat scanner dominates 80% of their time. But the golden rule of neuroscience is this. The exact moment your frontal cortex consciously engaged, the limbic system powers down. They literally cannot drive the car at the same time. Now, what's really interesting about this is this specific number, 13 seconds. That is the exact amount of time it takes for a tiny almond-shaped structure in your limbic system, called the amygdala, to completely hijack your brain into a state of blind anger or fear. Just 13 seconds. If you can consciously intervene during that super short window, maybe by taking deep breaths or just counting backwards, you diffuse the hijack and put the CEO right back in the driver's seat. All right, section 3, daily brain fitness techniques. So when that inevitable afternoon slump hits or when midday stress spikes, we need actionable science-backed tools. Enter this totally fascinating concept, neurobics. Neurobics are multi-sensory challenges that purposefully introduce novelty into your daily routines to stimulate fresh brain growth and optimize your performance. It's literally a workout for your neurons. It can be as simple as brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand or consciously taking a completely new route to work. By forcing your brain out of autopilot, you're building incredible cognitive resilience. Because as Dr. Adadia so powerfully puts it, monotony actually kills the brain. Just let that sit for a moment. Doing the exact same routine, the exact same way, day in and day out, causes our neural pathways to stagnate. Our brains desperately need novelty and multisensory challenges to physically thrive and grow. But you know, what happens when we're faced with a new task and we just want to procrastinate? We've got to remember that the brain is inherently lazy. Its absolute favorite activity is doing nothing on the couch. Its main biological goal is simply to conserve energy. So the biological hack here is the 5-minute rule. Do the dirty draft first. By committing to just the very first 5 minutes of a task, you trick your brain. That initial low-stakes action creates powerful biological momentum, and it effectively pushes you past your brain's natural resistance. So the crucial point is, to actively manage these states, you really need a midday emotional toolkit. For anxiety, use the cyclic sigh, 2 sharp inhales followed by 1 long exhale, or try 4-7-8 breathing. If you're feeling incredibly drained, use power Brahmari, the humming bee breath. By taking a deep breath and humming, you literally produce nitric oxide in the brain, which rapidly shifts you from a stress state back into focused gamma and alpha waves. And for pure focus, Tritaka, which is the practice of intently gazing at a central point to build up those beta waves.
Which brings us to Section 4, the biology of our differences.
As we transition into the evening of our biological day, let's explore how our underlying neurobiology actually affects our relationships. When comparing men's and women's brains, it's just amazing to see how evolutionary drives shaped us. The biological imperative to produce and protect the best possible offspring created fascinating structural and chemical differences in exactly how we handle stress and focus. Men's brains largely evolved to have monofocal attention, which is often coupled with delayed emotional processing. Women's brains, conversely, exhibit remarkable multitasking abilities and a capacity for immediate emotional processing, which is wired deeply right into their memory centers.
Let's move to and see how this builds into distinct real-world emotional scenarios, like the biology of a breakup. On day 0, women typically process the emotion immediately, experiencing intense sadness, while men often suppress it, throwing themselves into action or work. By month 6 to 18, women have often emotionally processed and recovered, but later down the line, men are often hit by a massive delayed emotional fallout. These wildly different recovery arcs aren't just personality quirks, guys. They are heavily influenced by neurochemicals, specifically oxytocin and serotonin in women versus testosterone in men.
And finally, Section 5, unlocking your limitless potential. Stepping back from the micro moments of our daily routine for a second, how do we actually build what is called the billionaire brain, a rock-solid, resilient neural circuit? Well, it starts by recognizing the sheer volume of activity going on inside your head. Up to 50,000 thoughts. That is what the average human experiences every single day. 50,000 different firing impulses. But what is truly surprising is the scientific data on what those tens of thousands of thoughts are actually focused on. When scientists actually mapped this out, they found that those 50,000 thoughts almost entirely revolve around just 3 core pillars: relationships, work and money, and health. That's it. Unlocking your potential isn't about solving a million different complex problems. It's about mastering just these 3 core areas to achieve a rare phase coherence in your brain. That's a biological state where your mind operates completely smoothly, without any chaotic crosstalk or mental traffic jams.
So what does this all mean? It brings us to a final, crucial thought. True destiny isn't about avoiding failure. Life is inevitably going to bring losses. Destiny is defined by exactly how you respond to them. It's about actively wiring your brain to view failures as stepping stones. And as AI steps in to handle more and more of our repetitive tasks, time is no longer our biggest constraint. Peak performance isn't about time management anymore. It is entirely about energy management. So I leave you with this. Where are you choosing to actively invest your mental energy today?